LYNDA HALLINAN Last updated 0500, October 1, 2017. LYNDA HALLINAN walked into her local Papakura bank to deposit a check and walked out clutching this chirruping baby thrush. Opinion by any measure, it was a particularly peculiar pecuniary transaction. This week I walked into my local bank to deposit a check and walked out clutching a baby bird in a cardboard box. The fledgling thrush had fallen out of its nest above the Kiwi Bank branch in Papakura and was holding the staff ransom, while its mother was having a right hissy fit on the pavement outside. To be fair, her parenting decisions up to that point left a lot to be desired. What sort of mother raises her young in a squat on an insalubrious street in South Auckland, foraging not for earthworms and wholesome grubs, but for the littered remains of half-eaten McDonald's Happy Meals? What is it about birds on the wing that causes us to stop and ponder our place in the natural world, even if only for long enough to load a shotgun? LYNDA HALLINAN has taken to forcibly evicting the tenant blackbirds nesting above the rafters in our converted stable block. What to do? What to do given that I was already mollycoddling my son Lucas' brood of baby Agday chickens? I volunteered to adopt it. After all, what's one more mouth to feed? Read more. Giving up meat is hard, especially when it comes to bacon. Dietitian weighs in food to reward kids for good behavior. LYNDA HALLINAN. The alternative facts of life. Lucas, at the age of 6, is already a free market capitalist. Rather than take a lamb or a calf to the Ararimu school egg day this weekend, he asked to compete in the chicken category. Once his 6 brown shavers reach laying age, he stands to make his pocket money selling their eggs on our roadside stall. I didn't tell him that, if he raised a prime spring lamb for slaughter, he'd stand to pocket $150 by Christmas. Lucas was completely committed to those day-old chooks for all of half an hour. Then somehow it became my job to feed them, replenish their water bowl, muck out the Makedo brooder we fashioned from a beer crate and a heat lamp, and tuck them back into the hot water cupboard each night. 6 weeks of high-maintenance mothering later, he'd be just as happy to buy our eggs at the supermarket. Is a bird in the hand really worth 2 in the bush? I suppose that depends on which 2 birds and which bush. Spring bird song is a seasonal joy until you notice that rosellas have chewed all the popcorn blossom buds off your Shimizu sakura cherries and fantails have pecked holes in every near-up mandarin. I love watching silvery bandits nicking the nectar from Feijoa petals, fruitfully pollinating the flowers in the process, but am less enamored with the wetland piko who strip my sweet corn cobs to the husk, or the pheasants who stole every grain of barley from my naturalistic meadow border last summer. Only recently have I come to realize that all the birds in my garden must resent me and my cat's dog and nest-missing children as much in return. For as Steve Bronius writes in his contribution to the new anthology Birdwords, New Zealand writers on birds, until the arrival of humans, birds had the run of the place. They were here when the New Zealand archipelago set itself loose from Gondwanaland about 80 million years ago. The theory is that the moa and the kiwi, our famous ratites, flightless birds, just stood there as the land separated. Most of the chit-chat in Birdwords is complimentary, whether it's Kirsten Warner watching Pkiko play petanque with foraged Feijoas or Meg Campbell admiring her bonking budgies. But David Hill is less kind to Brian Turner's meek and dithery thrush with its speckled pinny, describing them as terrorists of suburbia, while Carl Dufresne takes aim at Australian magpies who launch aggressively territorial, pathologically determined assaults on unsuspecting Wairarapa cyclists. What is it about birds on the wing that causes us to stop and ponder our place in the natural world, even if only for long enough to load a shotgun? We've taken to forcibly evicting the tenant blackbirds nesting above the rafters in our converted stable block. Their constant tittering isn't an intolerable nuisance, but no one takes kindly to being crapped on through the gaps in the roof slats. In her introduction to Birdwords, Elizabeth Easter writes of her garden's daily serenades by choirs of TK+, Kmter and P+, Waka Waka, and muses that writers clearly cherish their finifeathered friends, in part because all these busy inquisitive birds help our earthly imaginations take flight. But this week my imagination has been grounded, and my spirits ground down, by constant trips to the bathroom, where my baby thrush is now holed up in a cat cage, demanding to be fed tasty morsels of fancy feast cat food on a toothpick. I can't help but feel I've intervened unnecessarily in the natural order of things. Sunday start times.